Santé, and welcome to the Sorare Lounge, courtesy of the Sorare Thursday Club. Happy Thanksgiving. Nice little American tradition. NFL is live and happening right now, which is a nice little touch for a Thursday evening. I am San Jose's #1 limited collector, which is actually worth nothing as of today's announcement. Ricky, also known as the Sorare Mamba on Sorare, and I am joined as ever by my glamorous co-host, Play Sharper Everton expert and duck lover, who is still searching for those missing 10 points, Johnny, aka Dornado. How are we this evening?
Yeah, good. I'm sure we will get on to the Everton news of the week later on. But yeah, I'm okay, apart from the horrific 10-point bollocks that's going on right now. Back to work this week after 9 weeks paternity leave. So it's been a bit of a mental week in terms of real life shit. But yeah, I'm all good. And happy Thanksgiving to all the viewers and to yourself, Rick. I hope you get a new arm for Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Yes, I would like a new arm. I would have taken a large turkey today as well, but we were left with beef casserole. But we move. Paul Moorcroft, ready to join you in your toffee defiance at the Thursday Night Everton Collection Club. We will get onto them at some point, obviously. But for now, thanks to anyone who is watching live or who is listening or watching afterwards. If you could please like and subscribe and all that vibe, so we can keep the lights on at the podcast. It makes us feel all warm and fuzzy inside. But the international break is finally behind us. The wait is finally over. The big competitions, big shiny new competitions kick off this weekend. So we're going to talk about prioritization, because I wanted it to sound like we had an actual point and like a strategic thing to talk about, when in general we'll probably just go off on a tangent. But, you know, there was an aim. There was an aim at some point. So, yeah, internationals are done. We've got some tickets for Euro 2024 in the bag, thanks to yourself. England will be there in pot 1, so we will have a chance to draw England.
Mate, I am eagerly anticipating. Obviously, you've been to the Euros a couple of times, haven't you, with Jesse? This will be my first time, and I've never watched a draw with anticipation of actually being at a game before. So it's like I'm nervous for the draw. I think it's in a week, right? Is it 1st December, 2nd December, something like that?
Yeah, it could be tough as well. I see Croatia in pot 3, Italy are in pot 4, Netherlands are in pot 3. You know,
how that actually works out then? Is it just purely on the? Because I thought they took into account the sort of general world rankings as well as how they've done in the groups.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
There's some dodgy looking seeds in there.
Pot 2 seems quite weak, doesn't it?
It does.
So, yeah, who knows? But I mean, it should make some tasty groups.
Yeah,
I'd quite like England to get a reasonably, not like the group of death, but something interesting. One of like Netherlands or Italy or Croatia, and then something like Romania and.
Not Croatia. I feel like Croatia are always like our bogey team in a way.
Yeah, but we owe them one, right? So
yeah, true. But very exciting.
Scotland will be there as well. Wales in the playoffs. Not the hardest of playoff draws they got. So yeah, all up in the air. Exciting times. But yeah, more excited for the return of domestic football. We're still hanging on with the MLS playoffs. J-League's still just about ticking over, isn't it? And K-League. So, yeah, we've still got that full-looking roster for now. So we'll have a little look at prioritization. We're going to have a look at Super Cap 220 and the Prem Winter Comp. Those new shiny things we've got this weekend. Look at our rosters, our lineups, tactics. We'll have a look at Everton v. the World, which makes extra topical sense this week. Do some mustache picks. A Prem preview, we'll shove it all in. So yeah,
I'm sure we'll fit that into half an hour easily.
Yeah. We definitely won't go miles over what we say we will. But to start, let's have a little catch up on the gossip column. Any Sorare news that's been happening? I don't actually think there's been too much this week. There's been a lot of marketing and build up for the Prem competition. You see, they've been flooding loads out, so haven't really had time for much else. Bless them. But we'll have a quick look at the collection event, which was just announced. And this was announced in the pitch notes that they were going to reward the top collectors for this season in various different teams with some unannounced prizes, where they gave us a bit more information a few hours ago. So the first set is for Champion Europe clubs, player signed jerseys. So you can see down here, Atalanta, Monaco, Betis, and they've got Celta Vigo. So Strasbourg are in there, Torino. So a little bit of Italy, a little bit of Spain, a little bit of France. Some signed jerseys for top 3 limited and top 2 rare and top super rare collectors. And then a few less for these ones down here. Super rare has to have over 250 points. There's a bit of technicalities to mean that you can't own some like just 2 cards of a random team. But yeah, a small start. Doesn't affect me in my only team that I've actually got a strong collection of this season. But yeah, that's the sort of thing we now know what they're going to hand out. A bit better is signed jerseys for the season.
It's cool, isn't it? I got a little bit excited when I saw it. Before I actually fully read the announcement, I went straight onto like the club shop to see what was going on in case I'd like miss anything. And I had a little thing there that said like new special event signed jersey. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna get a signed jersey, yes. And clicked on it. It was like, you're not eligible. I was like, oh. And then I went back and reread it and realized it's not to do with all Champion Europe teams. And then I saw Bologna in there and I was like, oh, I'm not too far away from Bologna. I'm like top 10. I think I was about 8th. And then went onto the leaderboard and saw that everyone's clearly just gone mad for this in the last like few hours. And like top 3 were like so far ahead, it wasn't even worth me trying to get there.
Is there a cutoff? Was it not? I didn't think about that. Is it not before they sent this?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe to avoid people just going like, bang, I've spent 50 quid on like all these crappy limiteds and get up there.
I did get a unsigned mystery jersey from the Serie A drop earlier in the week. I think there was an issue with it wouldn't work on the web, but I went onto the actual Sorare app.
Yeah.
And I was able to get one through there because they hung around for a while. I think there was a bit of an issue with the web.
I thought they were signed. Were they not signed?
No, they're the 15k unsigned ones.
Right.
So I'd love a Bologna one. That was top of my list, I think.
That'd be cool.
So that'd be cool. That was the last thing I haven't got on cooldown. So now, I can't get anything else at the club shop.
And also, whilst we're talking about jerseys, back when you won your Premier League signed and unsigned jerseys in that 3 weekly Premier League comp they did, I also won an unsigned jersey. And then suddenly realised that a couple of weeks ago, I was like, crap, I should have got an unsigned jersey. Like, where the hell's that gone? So I messaged them and they said, oh, you were supposed to reply to an email like sent the week after. I didn't see an email, looked for it, turned out it was in my junk. And I was like, mate, sort me out here. This isn't fair. Like, I really want this unsigned jersey. And they've sent me one. So good on Sorare. They've kept me happy. And I got the message today from that Panoply or whatever it's called, the delivery company. So it's on its way. So hopefully I'll have a mystery box opening at some point next week.
Yeah, I'd love an Inter, maybe AC third kit is amazing this year.
Italy's the one for me. We've talked about it before. I know, like, obviously a lot of the Serie A teams aren't covered in terms of the common leagues and stuff, but like Italy just reminds me of watching football as a kid, like on Channel 5 and Channel 4 back in the day. I love it.
It's just some nice, like, iconic kits. So I'm excited for mine. It'll probably be something crap. The last ones I got didn't quite hit the mark, but
do you know what would be cool whilst we're talking about kits? Imagine if they did vintage kits. That'd be good. Like some sort of giveaway of like a Juventus kit from like 2002 or something like.
Yeah. Second on my list after Bologna would be Fiorentina because I love the purple, but the Fiorentina with the Nintendo sponsor on the front, that would be absolutely iconic. That'd be the one I want. Shakhtar Donuts won themselves a Bayer Leverkusen shirt. Ooh. Are you lads going to frame yours? Thinking of framing any I get with a physical card of a player included?
Yeah, that's a very good idea.
I hadn't actually thought of like including like the lineup that won me, but I've won the signed Arminia Bielefeld, the Fulham one. Nuremberg I got from Sorare Sevens. Villa was from one of the comps, and I'll have an Italy one. So I got a little collection now, along with the trainers and a hat. Sorare's like provided me with a wardrobe. I was thinking of getting the signed ones, put in a frame, but depending on cost. But like the team that won it might be a cool. Like the Fulham one obviously had a team attached to it. So yeah, that's a cool idea. Maybe to like get the little print out of your team and get it in the bottom of their scores and like this team won this. So yeah, I've been thinking about it. Maybe the Fulham one is the one I'd probably go for. I'm not sure. Like third division Arminia Bielefeld's got much, value to it. But yeah, definitely the Fulham one. I think. And it's a small, so maybe I won't have to buy such a large frame.
Love it.
But yeah, congratulations on your shirt win. Bayer Leverkusen, good one to get. Palacios, one of my might be my second longest hold. Jimenez is my longest, and then Palacios, I think. But yeah, it's nice that they're giving out jerseys for collections. That's what we want to see, right? MLS next. The next one's in 2 weeks, apparently. So let's hope it's MLS.
Love it. Love it.
And just the rest of the pitch notes. We obviously had the jerseys. Manager status has been updated. Players' birth dates included. I see now when you pick, change players when setting the lineups, the little pop of the score as it changes. There's like some nice
aesthetically pleasing little things, which actually are very small but make a big difference to people's enjoyment of the game, don't they?
Yeah. The bottom one, old collections getting more love. They get the badge now as well. You know, previously, unless you had the newest one, you didn't have to keep the badge, did you, of the club that goes next to your name in your club. So that's nice. So I think that means I get the Consadole one.
Nice.
Now. So that's a nice little touch.
It'd be good to be able to display more than one, though, wouldn't it? I still think it'd be good to be able to, you know, put in. I could qualify for Bologna one as well. Like to have Everton, Bologna, like Columbus Crew. If I ever did that one, that'd be cool to have a little collection of teams, wouldn't it?
It would be cool to, a bit more customization how you display your club and banners and trophies and badges and stuff. You know, for a bit more uniqueness and more reason to collect these things, so that you can then use more of them at once. But I suppose it's a nice touch. It's not much, but it's a nice touch for older collections because there's so much focus on the new collections and the new season cards. To have a little sprinkle of something for the old ones is actually quite nice. Maybe we need a bit more on the badge, but it's a start. Yes. And then the other thing was new faces on the market every other Tuesday. This week they started by dropping them yesterday. So it's the Chelsea boys, the main things that I saw from it. And Kunku, Cucurella, Fofana, and someone else that I'm missing from the Chelsea team. But yes, the new Chelsea. Oh, Enzo, the big one. So they were nice. Cool cards, big missing pieces. I was interested in Kunku myself, but as you see, the one ending in 9 minutes, his number 5 is £62 already. So yeah, I think I'll have to wait a little bit on that. And I saw Elche had their new season cards, and Valenciennes seem to have theirs dropped as well. All the ones were on the market yesterday.
I'm getting excited for Beto's Everton card to come out because he's the only player in our squad we haven't got a card for at the moment for some reason.
I think these drops are cool. You know, I'm looking forward to like having a look through each Tuesday and see who's dropped, who's one of is out and stuff.
Is there
in here now?
Out of interest, is there a thing you can select on the side which is like new faces event or something? So it shows just the.
I don't know if there is a new faces. I just searched by one-offs yesterday when it was dropped.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Oh, yeah.
I could see
they used to do it, didn't they? A similar sort of thing where you could select like Power Hour and something. It would just show like all the ones in the Power Hour.
Yeah, I don't think there is a filter for it. Card edition. No, but I saw ex-Bristol City legends. Where's he gone?
There's lots of ex-Bristol City legends now, isn't there? You can genuinely put together a team, couldn't you? Of like,
ex-Bristol City legend Taylor Moore has a card now. I was tempted by his one-off yesterday, but the Premier League new competition's got the better of me, so there's no funds left over.
What is it with the sort of thing between Valenciennes and Bristol City? Because Staven Bajic went to Valenciennes as well on loan. Is there some sort of like weird like filter club agreement between them?
Not that I know of.
This is quite random, isn't it, for Taylor Moore to go to Valenciennes, it seems. I mean, he's a Bristol lad, isn't he?
Yeah, he's moved around a little bit, though, since... but they picked up Knockout, and I think they got someone else from over here, so maybe they're looking over here for some buys. But yeah, that's basically all that happens in newsworthy in Sorare this week. But I like the new faces, and Kunku and Enzo are obviously really cool cards. And Cucurella's in my eFootball team, so he interests me as well. But we'll have to wait because we spent a little bit too much on Premier League players already. So the main point of this was, what are we prioritizing? So obviously we have Super Cap 220 starts this week, and the Prem Winter Comp starts this week. They're entering our lives. So how are we going to include them in how we set up our lineups? Deadline tomorrow. what are you prioritising?
Well, it's a bit of a weird one for me because 270, the last big monthly thing they did, it was one that I would try and put good players in. Cap 220 has always been historically one that I would leave until the end, whether that be the rare or the limited side, just purely because, it follows that you're going to be using your worst players really in those, in theory. Obviously, you can get hidden gems that have been injured for a while or, have been out of form and you think you're going to come back into form. So it's also quite a fun competition to enter, isn't it? Because you can really dig out those hidden gems, like the Manuel Neuer common card. I think we've got another one on the horizon this weekend. But it will definitely be going up there now for me. I'll probably be something I'll aim towards putting some good cards in if I can get them in. And definitely the winter comp as well. I'm a sucker for these types of things, as you are as well, Rick, as I know. I probably won't win much during the whole 13 weeks or whatever it is, but I'm all in for it. And I've got, I've already got loads of Premier League 2023 cards for Everton, obviously, so that helps. If I was someone who was new to the game or, someone that just hadn't focused on the new Premier League cards, I'd be probably not putting too much money in. I'd maybe put together a cheap one limited team, getting 4 outfield players and using a limited Premier League keeper from the previous season. But just purely because I have already got lucky with the sense I've got 23 cards, I will be putting a team together. And I've got a rare team as well, but it's not a very good team. But yeah.
You see, I was setting my lineups for it earlier, and thanks to you, I ended up with 3 new rare Everton cards earlier in this season. So I actually already basically had one team. And I had a couple of Prem goalies anyway, so I was sort of close to being able to enter 2 teams. And I've got completely fucking carried away in the last couple of weeks, and have just been buying fucking Premier League limiteds like pick a mix. So
I'm excited. Have I missed any? Have you got any to show?
Yeah. We'll go over my roster in a bit. It's expanded quite heavily. What I noticed when I set my rare lineup was I think earlier on there was only about 430 teams entered for tomorrow. I expect that will obviously go up a bit more, but that's still quite low when 150 places pay. And I think lowest places, I don't know what lowest place is, but $60 or something like that.
It is low. Yeah, I saw someone mention it on Twitter.
Let me just fact check this before I start spouting. 449 have currently entered. And the prize pool for week 1 goes down to 150, which is $60.
Yeah.
At the moment, 1 in 3 chance. Obviously, I expect the numbers to go back up, go up slightly more. But $60, if I pick that up 4 or 5 times out of 11, maybe 1 higher, it's not to be sniffed at. Because I was having a little look at my Prem rare team, and I didn't think it was quite strong enough, as in featuring elite players and things. But then I was like, if I'm rolling a team out, 1 or 2 teams out 11 times to get into top 50, maybe I'm not going to get top 10, but picking up $60 is not to be sniffed at as well. So I am going to start off aiming straight at the Premier League competition because it's shiny and new and fun. And I do think, we've been prioritizing hitting thresholds so much recently because the value of cards has been down, and that threshold seemed like such a big thing. So $60 is awesome. People might be aiming to win the competition. I'd be quite happy coming 149th, in rare.
That's $60 is more than what the rare E threshold is, isn't it? So
yeah, I'm excited. It's definitely my number 1 this weekend. And then I'm probably going to set my Prem Pro team in limited because Premier League cards are worth a bomb new season. So
and I don't know if you've already noticed as well, but because obviously the cards are getting spread out more across more competitions now. Like there's less people entering the Premier League Pro because you can't enter the Premier League Winter Comp alongside it. It has to be a whole separate thing. So it's certainly making everything a little bit more open. It's obviously with All-Star, Champion Europe as well. Champion Europe looks like there's a lot less entrants as well. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of opportunities this week. I'm interested to see how the first week goes in terms of whether people just instantly get annoyed with how far away they are from winning. Because I do anticipate there being a lot of pretty elite lineups. I know that obviously it's a 270 cap in the Premier League Winter Comp, so it can't be just full of, Rodri, Bruno, fucking Haaland. You just couldn't get a full team in with that, which is good. But there will be some very good lineups, won't there? Let's be honest.
I like the cap though. And Liverpool playing Man City on the first week is nice as well.
True.
So yeah, I'm going to stick cap 220 in after the Premier League competitions. Go at them hard in week 1 and see where I stand after that. I did enjoy the cap 270 and the All-Star versions. Not so much getting a really good score and not winning a card, but if you commit to it fully for the whole 8 weeks, then you're sort of, you can have a pretty strong chance at least you'll get some reward. If you fully invest in it over other things. So I got a tier 2 and a tier 4 last time. They weren't worth a lot of money, but it was nice to,
Well, I was very happy with my tier 3 rare that I won in the monthly thing. I was very high up in the tier 3s, but won that Feyenoord defender who'd been out for ages and is like historically his scores are like 100, 100, 190. I was like, oh my god, I've hit the jackpot here. So I do think they somehow, I don't know how they do it in the matrix behind the scenes, but they do weight the prizes slightly more to the top end of the tiers for the monthlies. It does seem. I don't know if you've noticed that as well.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I think they're rewarding people more, aren't they, for committing to these sort of 8 game week long things.
Yeah. But yeah, I like them, and I like the league format. I like trying to chase, like, I need to knock off my bottom score of like 220 or something. I need to get above that. Yeah. I think I like the, the strategic element. Am I just going to sack this week off because I haven't got a very strong lineup? And cap 220 is fun. I've always found cap 220 fun because you actually have to think about it and work it and put some lesser known players in. Obviously, there are
plenty, isn't it? 20 is plenty for 220. We know this.
We did do that segment before. There is some cheat codes, obviously. If you get a 0 in there, Aaron Ramsdale this weekend is the one everyone's talking about.
Don't tell everyone.
Aaron Ramsdale comes in at 0, leaves you with 220 points for your other 4 players. You can put in some quite strong lineups there. I mean, I'll show mine afterwards. I managed to get some quite tidy ones out. So I think there'll be a lot of chasing for those 0 cost cards or cheat codes, won't they? You'll need to pick up their common or they're limited if you want to have a really good chance. Yeah. And those commons are really interesting. I mean, a lot of people use it on the goalie, but you could use it elsewhere, right? I saw people talking about Griezmann or things like that. It's a really good option in limited, and it adds an extra fun layer. You can basically pick up anyone from the big leagues and run them out. So yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I did it for a few weeks with Vinny Jr. when he came back from his injury, and his cap was like 42 or something because he wasn't playing. And I was like, I'd rather take the risk on putting like one of my limited keepers in, because I'm luckily I've got quite a few shit ones, so their cap's really low. I'd rather put one of those in and hope they don't concede 3 goals and just get like a 40 odd, and then Vinny goes ham and gets like 95 or something. Like, I'd rather try it that way around. So that, yeah, like you said, there's multiple different ways you can do it.
But it's fun. And then obviously we've got the cap 240s, the main way we win money. It's been very heavily focused on by most people recently. So they're still there. And then the regionals are going to probably have a lot of cards, people less focused on them. Say Champion Europe, for example, is going to have a lot of the Premier League cards hooked out of it. Cards hooked out for 220. So it's probably a lot of the other competitions going to be thinner than they normally are as well. So I think there's a lot of strategy in coming up with a plan of what you want to aim for and sticking to it. Really going for like the competition that suits your gallery best. But in terms of what I'm going to prioritize, I think I'm going Prem Comp because it's shiny and new. Cap 220 for the first couple of game weeks to really just give it a solid start and see how it takes off. And then if I'm doing crap, I can taper out of that one. Cap 240s after that all round to try and win some ETH, and then stick what's left in the regionals and a couple of Legends teams. So what's your order going to be?
It's pretty similar, to be honest. Like Cap 240, I'm probably going to lessen my attempts at trying to hit like 350 now to hit that cap. I'm probably going to just try and put those solid sort of 5 players in that should get 280.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to, I put someone that I thought might be doing a lot worse than I think he's going to do this weekend. I'll probably put those down into the Cap 220 now. Now we're doing this monthly thing. I always love All-Star. I've always been a massive fan of All-Star, so I just think the prizes are so good in there. I know there's no ETH threshold, but I have actually managed to win ETH for finishing top 150, I think it is, a couple of times. So there is still that ETH chance if you can do really well. And I do seem to have a lot of players in my gallery that are either like massively doing amazing and are too high for like the caps, or really crap and they can get in the cap. So like those really high ones like Buanga, Luciano Costa, who are averaging like 70 every week. Like I literally just can't get them in cap teams. Like even cap 270, it's difficult to get them in. So I've had pretty strong all-star teams. Although obviously MLS is coming to an end now. But Cincinnati, they're still in, aren't they? What do they got next?
Cincinnati's still in, yeah.
Yeah, and LA obviously still in. Yeah. But yeah, similar to be honest. I still have yet to build my teams for tomorrow, so I've got lots of work to do after this pod. But
people get Cap 270 back as well, which has usually got really good rewards. So that'll be nice as well. The thing I did pick up on, more comps we get, like the Premier League things, requires starting goalkeepers, which is usually the real stretch for people, isn't it? Yeah. People have got to sacrifice a rare goalie to go into like the Premier League Pro or these extra competitions. That really thins out the amount of teams they can do. So I think that's where a lot of people end up blocked, right? You run out of goalies.
Impossible, yeah. And if you haven't got one, you just can't. There's no point entering, is there? Let's be honest.
So if I want to enter 2 rare teams into this Premier League competition, that's 2 of my usual goalies out the way. So yeah, red or dead. Nice to see you. So yeah, lot to think about. Cap 270 I hadn't even put in yet, but I have thought that's quite a good competition. But the Premier League winter competition, I think that's the main one, right? That's the one everyone's talking about. How many teams do you think you're going to run?
So it looks like, despite the fact I realised you could actually run 3 in each scarcity, because I read it wrong the first time and thought you could do 3 across all scarcities. So I'm going to be doing 3 limiteds and 1 rare by the looks of it. I'd love to do another rare because the threshold. Sorry, the ETH price and that are really good, but I just can't. Like, I only have 3 new season Premier League cards, plus Clement Longley, who I won on the weekend, that's worth about £5. So it would cost me so much extra money to get into it. I do have 2 Premier League goalkeepers from last season. Now Kaminsky is in the Premier League with Luton, but they're not going to be keeping many cleaners, are they? Let's be honest. He gets a lot of saves, to be fair, but yeah, 3 limited teams, 1 rare. One of my limited teams, I'm hoping to have like a really good limited team. One sort of bit freaky one that's kind of the remnants of my Everton starting 11. And then I'm trying to put together a sort of like rest of the Prem limited team as well to sort of cover myself. And then my rare team is going to be Pickford from last season, Tarkowski from last season. And then I've got Sander Berger, new season, Thomas Suchek, new season, and Nicholas Jackson, new season. So some decent players.
Yeah, I couldn't wait for Black Friday for any decent deals, and I've just been hamming players. My tactic was originally to buy some injured players and wait for basically the second half of the competition, but that sounded boring to me a week out, so I just started ham buying people. I've just massively overspent on a Kieran Trippier because I had a defensive issue right at the end and I needed 1 more defender, so I decided just to get a good one with a bit of midweek utility afterwards as well.
Love it.
2 more Everton lads have entered the fray, Harrison and Calvert-Lewin, and all these injured players I bought had left me too short in actual lineup quality players for the first couple of weeks. So Kovacic is in, awaiting comeback from injury. He's 50-50 for this week. Zuma's finished kicking cats. He's joined my club. McSauce, the hero of the English game, Scotland hero, all-round top quality lad, was in. Lavia and Botman, Lamptey are more injury purchases for when they come back. And then we topped up on some for the collection, like these Man City, Man United ones that could be of use as well. Luke Shaw's for when he comes back. Casemiro, Ben Chilwell. All of these are more injury returners. Lissandro Martinez. Destiny Udogie. Hopefully he's maybe back this weekend. But yeah, we've got a lot of waiting for returning injury players in here. And then we've got some of the old season Man United and Man City cards with the higher caps to hopefully fill in that 5th slot. And Onana and Pickford are our current season goalies. So we'll be weighing in on them heavily. But yeah, a lot of Man City to fill out. But we have 49 Premier League cards across the 2 seasons in limited and in rare. I didn't really pick too much up here. Lloyd Kelly, because I've got hundreds of Lloyd Kellys and I'm a big fan of ex-Bristol City legends. Drissagana Gay for AFCON utility as well. Starboy's in here. Josh Brownhill, ex-Bristol City legend, is a big fan of. He's been doing all right at Burnley. But yeah, then we won a couple. Visser and Silva that we've held on to. Højbjerg should have a place. And then we've got the Everton boys that you made us buy. So we've got Ant Gordon and McNeil for the forward line. So yeah, there's no real star quality in my rare lineup. This is the problem. So I think we'll be aiming for like the bottom prizes, but we're going to give it a go anyway. What have I got for the first week? So I'm going to go with this for one of my teams. An Onana, Kieran Trippier, McSauce, Haaland, and Kurt Zouma. Obviously, I'm going to need Haaland to bang in a tough fixture. He's had injury doubts as well. So if we get any news on that, we might have to switch out from him. Having to include 4 new season cards, I did notice really quickly how tough it is to actually get up to the 270, unless you're like, a big whale with a new season Liverpool collection or things like that. It's tough needing 4 season cards. I hadn't really overly thought about it. It is tough on a budget. It's nice to pick up some of those old season ones. They're half the price, but you can only fit 1 in. So
how's Onana? Is Onana fit? Your Onana, Man United's?
Yeah, I think he's going to play.
Yeah.
It looks like he'll play.
Good.
Which is good because
he's shit.
I have an Edison, but I can't really fit him in. I need one of those other spots for an outfield player. And here's the Everton stack. We fitted 3 of the new season cards in. The double striker of Danjuma, Harrison, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin with Lloyd Kelly, Jordan Pickford, and Rodrigo. So that looks quite nice. Again, we're 16 points away from the cap, though. So we're not close to filling it out. So I'm not confident of being high up, but hopefully we can do something. And my rare teams.
I like the amount of Everton going on here. It's so great. We haven't even got to show my teams yet, and we've still talked about Everton loads.
Fortunately, I've got so much Everton because of you. This is I call them the Everton and the non-Everton and all the scarcity. So this is the non-Everton rare lineup. This is 12 points away from the cap, but I think Gordon has been really good this season. Thiago Silva, not the easiest fixture as well. They're playing each other, aren't they? Newcastle and Chelsea. But I need them in there. It might be counterproductive, but this is without the Everton players. This is my best hope. Højbjerg is captain. Spurs have looked really good. Brownhill's been good, and Neto had a big score on his return. And they've got Sheffield United, which is kind of a plum tie. So we kind of like that lineup. And then we have our Everton rare lineup.
Here we go.
Everton rare. Only has 2 of them in this time because Onana is an injury concern, according to Play Sharper, Everton expert Johnny, only in at 60%. So I didn't really want to put Onana in. So we've got McNeil and Branthwaite. Our other options are Onana, Kufau. So there wasn't much choice. We have Garnacho, but I'm not sure Garnacho is going to start for Man United. It looks like probably Anthony and Rashford on the wings. Visser's got a tough game. McNeil and Branthwaite, if they smash, that means Everton have destroyed Man United. So at least I'll have one thing to be happy about, if not the result. And then a little Fulham pairing. So that's 18 off the cap. The common theme of all these teams is I've got nowhere near the cap. So I'm not fully utilising it. But I think the more I thought about it today, I think a lot of people would be struggling. You know,
I think you're right. What you said is right. I think it's going to be a struggle, definitely.
Because when I looked at my cards, you can see here Bruno, Luke Shaw, Gross, obviously Bowen's injured, but Diaz, Walker, because they're all old season. Cole Palmer, I can't get them into these teams. Yeah, Rashford, you need really 4 new cards, and those prices are so high right now.
Yeah,
you're not. You know, Kieran Trippier was a massive splurge today, just because I had injury crisis, and I thought, why not? Let's treat ourselves. There you go. I bought a limited Calvert Lewin because of this show. It's a common theme from people who watch the show, and our friends' WhatsApp group on Sorare seem to end up with far too much Everton. But you know,
I'm infiltrating the world.
In for a penny, in for a pound this weekend. I have a win on Sorare, or we beat you in real life. So
exactly, it's win-win. I might as well show you my teams whilst we're here, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes. So three limited teams, 1 rare team. Obviously, I've not got quite the extensive new season Premier League cards that you have. We can start with the rare because that's a nice, simple one. So in terms of rare keeper options for me, I have no new season rare keepers. So it was Pickford or Kaminsky. It might as well be Pickford, the better goalkeeper, because my 3 outfield players are all the new season cards, so I've got no other option really. So Pickford's in there, and I think we'll do all right against Man United this weekend. I've got a sneaky feeling. So
weirdly, Everton are a double-A matchup, aren't they, against Man United, which shows how far we've fallen. Where Man United are a double-A fixture for Everton.
I'll tell you what, I didn't. Yeah, I mean, Man United's obviously always a tough fixture, but we've not got too bad a sort of recent history against United at home, I don't think. But yeah, Tarkowski is going to be my only rare defending option here. Michael Keane's not playing. These were just bought purely to get my power percentage up for the Everton rare stack. Clement Lenglet won on the weekend just gone. He seems a good scorer when he does play, but he doesn't play in the Prem. He plays in Europe for them at the moment, it seems. So he's not really an option for me. So Tarkowski's my only real option there. And then, you know, I do have some midfield options, not a huge amount, obviously, but my last 3 cards have to be new season cards because I don't have a new season defender or keeper. So my only options here were Sander Berge. I think we talked about it previously, but I really like Burnley's, well, definitely a few of Burnley's fixtures during this 13-week winter competition. Burnley West Ham isn't the worst fixture for them. I do think their points total doesn't represent quite how well they've played. I mean, they haven't been great, obviously, Burnley. They're bottom of the league for a reason. But, like, they certainly play better football than Luton.
They should have beat Man United.
Yeah. They lost to Palace, didn't they, the other week? And Hodgson came out after and it was just like, I don't know how Burnley are struggling so bad because they completely outplayed us. So I do think they are due a slight uptick in performances. Sander Berge is a good, solid scorer. That last score there was for Denmark, but 55 and 50 with no decisives for his last 2 Burnley games is pretty solid. And he cost me like £25, so I thought it was an absolute bargain. Nicholas Jackson was someone I bought before this new winter comp, so I've kind of got lucky with his value. It's gone up a little bit. But he's someone I fancy to do really well with Chelsea. I actually bought him just before he scored that hat-trick against Spurs, so that kind of helped with his value as well. Tough fixture, obviously, away at Newcastle, you've mentioned, but Newcastle struggling a little bit, aren't they? They've got lots of injuries. Obviously, had that pretty bad result against Bournemouth, and then the argument in the crowd with Trippier. And I think obviously they're trying to fight on a few fronts, aren't they? And, you know, their squad, although is big, their second team of their squad isn't that good. So they're quite often playing their full team all the time. And I think this really caught up with them in terms of injuries. So Chelsea, I can see them doing something there against Newcastle, to be honest with you. So we'll see how that goes. And then
Thomas looked a lot better recently. You know, Cole Palmer's looking
exactly,
really good.
Yeah. And then Thomas Souček is my only other option in terms of a rare midfielder. I won him as a reward a couple of weeks ago. Once again, just before the winter comp, so I got very lucky there. But yeah, solid player, done really well for Czech Republic over the international break with a 78 and a 74. But yeah, solid for West Ham. Tends to always be sort of a 60-40 starter bencher on Play Sharper with the West Ham expert. Is not necessarily quite as nailed as he was. Now they've brought in like Alvarez, and they've got Kudos and Ward-Prowse. So there is a risk of rotation there, but like I said, I've not got a huge amount of options and no ETH in the balance at the moment. So it's not like I can do anything. It may be that throughout the next few months during the competition, I do get another defender or midfielder in from a new season card so I can try and improve that squad. But yeah, I think that's pretty solid. And like you said, 450 entrants and 150 prizes. I feel like if I can get 5 starters there and maybe a couple of decisives across the board there, you've got a good chance.
I do feel a lot more confident now, looking at how hard it was to get to the 270, that, the bottom half of the prize pool is all to play for if you've got 5 starters. I think you've got a solid chance, as long as you haven't got one of the awful matchups of the week. I think there's a lot to play for in there, because I hadn't really thought about how difficult it was to get 4 or 3 new players. It's a lot of money, and that's probably reflecting the entries only being at 449 the night before. Currently a 30% chance of hitting something.
If you look at it, like even shit players, like new season cards are worth stupid money. Like no offense to your buy, but like Kovacic is not shit. Obviously, he's a very good player, but like he is nowhere near being a nailed player for Man City, and has actually done pretty badly, I think, in some of the games he's played. I've seen some Man City fans giving him a load of shit, but like it costs you £7.50, and that's like a tier 1 limited at the moment in terms of cost, isn't it? Or value.
Old season cards are like half the price.
I know, it's just
the golf is incredible.
It's mad.
I can't quite believe it, but yeah, a lot going on. But that's our teams and our players. Oh, you got limited ones.
I was going to show you my limited quickly. I was just going to say that whilst we're talking about old season cards, I've capitalised on that and bought an Odysseus this evening.
Odysseus,
so I could put in a cheeky third team, which will eventually be a mismatch of non-Everton players. I've just put this together now, so it's not particularly my last iteration. But obviously Bruno Fernandes is playing away at Everton this week, so I hope this team falls absolutely flat on its face and does fuck all. Harrison, I kind of feel like I'm probably not going to keep him in here. I'm going to put him on my other 2 teams because I do think he'll do well. Ashley Young is a walk-in booking. But might do all right against his old team. You never know. Obviously, Souček, we've talked about as well. So, but the good thing about this is it's a week-by-week competition, right? It's not something which is a cumulative thing like the monthlies.
And some weeks your players are going to have a really good matchup. Some weeks they're not. So it's capitalising when you can.
Exactly. My other 2 teams, just quickly, we can all expect what it's going to be. Full Everton stack here with my last season Pickford being my old card here. Branthwaite, Onana, McNeil, Decore. Still unsure about the Onana news. There'll be a news conference tomorrow. We'll see about that.
Will you be updating Play Sharper before the deadline?
I will be updating Play Sharp for the deadline. I think he's going to play. He was withdrawn from the Belgian squad as a precaution against the minor calf injury he had for Everton. So I think he'll probably play, to be honest with you. We'll need him for sure. The only thing is that Idrissa Gueye came on for him when he got that injury and scored, did really well. So that's what's up in the air a bit. But yeah, my other team is the Pickford new season, Tarkowski new season, Garner, McNeil again as captain, and then Mikalenko, who I've dissed a lot, but he's become absolutely elite. His price of his new season cards now, it's like 18 quid or something ridiculous. I'm like,
wild, yeah.
I refuse to pay that. It's bad. But fair dues to him. He's answered a lot of Everton critics, this season. Me being one of them.
You were calling him last year the worst.
I was
weren't you?
I was calling a lot of players the worst players ever seen in the last 2 years. But yeah, he's struggled along with a lot of players. But we certainly do look a more solid team this season. I'm sure we'll get onto why we may be up against it again later on. But yeah, those are my 3 teams. They still could change a little bit before tomorrow. But yeah,
I think it's tough for me. My 3 main teams that I stack and run are Man United, Everton, and Man City. Man United and Everton are playing each other, and Man City are away to Liverpool or home to Liverpool, playing Liverpool. So it's not an ideal. While we're on the topic, we'll have a quick run through of the Premier League games this weekend. Then we'll do the weekly Everton Super 220 teams. Then we'll do our Moustache Top Tip of the Week. Have a quick talk about how we found rivals after a week, and then we'll be out of here. So let's have a quick run through of the Premier League matches going on this weekend and what we think they'll do for this new competition. So first up on the Saturday, early kickoff is Man City Liverpool. Do say never back the early game. I think this is quite a good start for the competition. You know, two of the main teams and stacks having a tough match, especially after an international break. You know, there's so much up in the air who's going to play. I think there's going to be random DMPs, especially in the early game like this. Pep will love sticking in some unexpected changes in here, I think. Is Haaland going to play? You know, there's all these knocks. Hoylands, loads of big players over the weekend are going to be up in the air till the last minute. So I think there's going to be a lot of DMPs which are going to play into the favour of some people in this comp as well, you know, knocking some people's lineups straight out the window. So, I just thought if there's only 450 rares, some people can enter up to 3 as well, can't they? So that's not many individual people in that competition so far at the moment. I hadn't thought. So, for example, I've got 2. So
I wonder if, this is a point actually. So that figure there, 450, is that teams or is that people entering? Because that could be extrapolated by 2 or 3, I guess. Do you know what I mean? So it could be higher than what that's saying. Because I guess we've never had a comp before where you can enter multiple teams in the same competition as a manager, right? That's the only thing I'm just thinking of all of a sudden. Can you see you can't see like a leaderboard, can you, where it would show 454 teams on it?
I'm just going to delete one of my teams and see if the number went down by 1.
Yeah, you know what I mean, though, don't you? So, like,
I do know what you mean. Yeah.
That could be a reason why those figures aren't quite right. There, it might be some sort of just problem with their coding for that figure there.
That might be right. I just deleted a team and it hadn't gone down by 1, but then someone might have entered a team. But yeah, that's a very good point.
So that 2,000 for limited could well be like 4,500 or even more than that if people have, on average done 3 teams. But still, even if it is that, that's still not a huge amount considering, like, if you consider the payouts they do for, other competitions, it's a lot worse. But anyway.
Some people just didn't want to fork out the money. Their, portfolio value's going down. They're like, I don't want to buy any more cards. I'll stick to my thresholds in the competitions I got the cards for already.
Maybe they'll think, this is good. This is going to get rid of a few people from the comps I do target.
Yeah,
I guess they'll just get a bit of FOMO because everyone's going on about the Premier League stuff. But
So Man City, Liverpool in the early kickoff. Could be any score, could be any lineup from Man City, really, couldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, at the best of the time, Pep's gonna do some rotation. So yeah, early game after a bloody massive international break where they're flying all over the world. Like, who fucking knows?
Rodri had a little knock in the first Spanish game, didn't he? Missed it. Edison had some injury issues, didn't play. There's a lot up in the air. It's hard to know who you'd bank on. Haaland. It's hard to know the score. So yeah, they're going to be some of your elite players, so you're going to have to play them. But it's not something I'd want to be trying to predict. Even like the simple things like Simicast or Gomez. There's question marks all over the pitch. Yeah. Maybe the Man City centre backs is maybe the one thing you'd want to get involved in with like a Guardiola or something like that. I imagine he'd probably play. But yeah, I think high scoring draw probably. Burnley, West Ham. Again, tough to tell. Burnley better than their results say. Burnley have got some sneaky good players at home score-wise. If you were looking to, I mean, me, you, and Swiss Mafia, Jesse, have all picked up a Burnley player from the Burnley midfield, Brownhill, Sanderberg, to fill in one of the spots. They cheat on the cheaper side of most teams, and they have got the ability to put in some good scores, haven't they?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And there's been some weird rumours about Moyes. Maybe it's just because I love Moyes, but like I feel like West Ham fans have never, even though they've done well and won a competition, they've still never quite been taken by Moyes, have they? And they've had a couple of dodgy results recently, mixed in with some really good ones as well. So it's a big game for both of them. I feel like Burnley could do all right. I feel like Burnley are probably going to be above Everton and will be bottom by the time Saturday 3 p.m. games are finished.
Yeah, Bowen as well, isn't it? There's rumours that his injury is actually really bad, bad.
Yeah.
MCL, I heard, long recovery. Nothing's been confirmed, but
and he is literally about as key. Like he's always been a key man for them, but isn't he scored on like 8 straight away games for the first time in any Premier League history of any player?
Yeah, and I saw his limited went for about £53 just before injury rumours came out, and I was like, that's got to hurt if you've just bought a new season Bowen for over 50 quid. But yeah, what they're going to do up front, they've got Antonio, he's had niggles as well, haven't they? So they've left themselves short up there. So West Ham have the firepower with midweek games as well. I think this might be Burnley's turn to put some points on the board. Obviously, Palace are a great fixture for the first week of this winter tournament, aren't they? Everyone targets Luton. Joachim Anderson at the back. Gay, their centre-backs are really good already, points-wise. So, Elise, there's lots of things. There's lots of things to target.
Yeah, like you say, they've got a lot of good players. The only thing I would say is that Palace have got more players that would have gone off to internationals, so they might be fatigued or not had time to go through tactics or whatever. But so you'd think Luton have been building up for this game probably quite a lot in terms of training for 2 weeks. They do have some international players. I'm not going to completely take the piss out of them. They've got some good players as well.
Yeah.
But it's a big game for Luton. They'll be up for it, but I can't see anything else than a Palace win there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I think they're a good target for the first week, aren't they? A lot of people would have been them cheaper than like a top 6 club. A good way to get into the first week. I wanted Joachim Anderson, but he's just been so expensive for so long.
His price has gone mad. I've always followed Joachim Anderson from when he was at Lyon. He was someone that I favoured on Sorare for really early on. So I always see his little things. Used to see his things coming up saying there's a new Joachim Anderson on the secondary market, and literally he was 30 quid for a rare, and I just didn't pull the trigger. I just kept not pulling the trigger. And now he's that price, and you're probably the same as me. Even though he may still have some value in him, I just can't buy anyone that I've seen cost £30 before. I just can't do it. My head won't allow me to do it.
I can't. Most prices are on the fall, so I can't buy anyone that's on the rise. It just, I can't go back. Newcastle, Chelsea, hopefully a nice high-scoring game. Chelsea have got the new cards out. Lots of them are, Enzo, Fafana, and Kunku, they're all really interesting cards. Going nice and expensive. Chelsea got a lot of young talent. I would like Chelsea, Chelsea build around, I think would be a nice idea for this competition because I think they're on the up.
I agree with you. Chelsea's something I've been sort of aiming towards because I really do feel like they're definitely on the up. Even when their results were still bad at the start of the season, they were playing so much better than they were last year. Yeah. And I think it was just a matter of time before they sort of all clicked into gear. They've obviously got Nkunku to come back. What's his name? Looks amazing. I've forgotten his name now. Not Phil Foden. Palmer, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Palmer's looks great. Sort of become a sensation almost overnight, it seems, with Chelsea rather than with Man City.
England debut.
English, yeah. And I feel like a lot of Chelsea players, maybe not so much now because they've won 4-1 and drawn 4 Man City last 2 games, but their players were really reasonable priced, I thought. I do fancy Chelsea there. And Newcastle are struggling, like we said, and I feel like this could be a Chelsea win.
And then we got Brighton Forest. Forest just lost their main striker, the top scorer. He's been looking really good. And I had put a few cheeky bids on his auctions and got outbid, fortunately, because he's out for a long time now.
I won you.
Yeah. Brighton, obviously everyone picks up Brighton for a long time. Lots of cool players, lots of style, got midweek utility, like the Newcastle players as well. So that might be something to aim for in this competition. Buy players with midweek utility afterwards to hope that it props up the price a little bit. Something like West Ham does that as well. Villa, teams that are going to be in Europe afterwards as well. Sheffield United, Bournemouth. Obviously, lots of shouts for Bournemouth players that they usually wouldn't get because Sheffield United's never plum tie. I've got some Lloyd Kellys to run out. I've got Neto in goal. Sheffield United and Luton are probably the ones that most people target when they're looking at the fixtures for this competition, aren't they? So, and then Arsenal Brentford is the L15 cheat code. Raya can't play against Brentford, so Ramsdale is going to be in goal, and he's a 0 in his L15. So you can go in to your Premier League common team. If you when you're going on the teams page, if you unclick the recommended or preferred competitions or something at the top, all the amateur competitions appear again, and you can do your swaps. You can't register a team if you've got more than 10 cards, but you can make your swaps. So I went in and got a Ramsdale in to plug into my Super Cap 220 limited team to give me a 0 so I could spend 220 points on the outfield players. So that was exciting. Ramsdale. I think everyone will be doing that, but I think it's too good of an opportunity to miss out on.
That is exciting. Do you know what's good about that is that he's on 17 games DMPs in a row, so he's very close to still having an average. And also, a lot of people thought he'd play a game for England over the internationals because obviously they had 2 pretty winnable games and they were already qualified, but Pickford ended up playing both. So he could have easily had an average of some sort of score this weekend, and he's kind of got away with it. But interestingly enough, I don't think Arsenal keep a clean sheet though. So, I don't think he's going to get you that high score, but just having that 0 in there makes such a difference to your 4 limiteds, doesn't it?
I think it's too good of an opportunity. If it was like a one-off week, you might want to be different. One-off competition, like I want to try something different, stand out from the crowd. Because it's best 4 out of 8, I think it's too good of an opportunity to try and bank a score in week 1. So
the only thing I've thought of, which I'm still not going to do, so I'm going to play him, is that so many people are talking about doing him, right? That if you didn't do him and he did awful, say he got a 0, maybe it'll still be worth it. I don't know, but maybe they played the other keeper, the Hine or whatever he's called.
Yeah,
feel like if he did do shit, then you may stand out from the crowd if you weren't someone that played him. But like you said, I think it's too good an opportunity to turn down, really.
Yeah. I have a Hine limited, actually, and he's got very low L50. He plays for Estonia and just gets battered whenever they play for Estonia. Yeah. So I wouldn't mind that either. Sunday's 2 fixtures, Tottenham Villa. Should be a good game. 2 teams that play well this season, attacking football. I think potential for good attacking returns from both teams. And then we finish on the big game. Is there a Monday game?
I think there might be a Monday game.
Fulham Wolves,
What a damp squib. What an absolute damp squib of a Monday game. Yeah. It seems like you've got a few players in the Everton Man United game. I think mine might be the same, mate. You've actually got no space on your screen to show all the people available to you.
Yeah, overlapping the screen for this one. But Monday game. I've got the goalie. I think Leno's quite a good choice. Wilson, but I wouldn't want to be going down to that for my teams. But the big one is Man United Everton, right? 4:30, me versus you. Do you want to tell everyone what happened to Everton this week?
I mean, if you follow football and you don't know, then you've probably been living under a rock.
I just want to hear you say it, really.
Yeah, well, there was rumours of it. We've had this financial fair play independent review has been in the independent inverted commas there. Independent review has been in the pipeline for some time. There was rumours released a couple of weeks ago saying we were going to get docked 12 points, and then one of the really good in the nose for Everton on Twitter came out and said his sources said it's more likely we get a very, very heavy fine. So I kind of took that and thought, we can deal with the fine. We've got a billionaire owner. Anyway, what was it? Maybe a week ago? Everton, breaking news, docked 10 points. The most in first top division in England football history. Madness, absolute madness. I know probably 85% of football fans think it's lols, but actually think it's ridiculous too. And I think you're probably in that. I know it's funny and I know it's great that, Everton are getting docked points, but it is fucking ridiculous.
It is hilarious. I think the thing that's annoying is Man City have managed to avoid anything with 115 charges over them, but Everton straight in, 10 off the bat straight away.
One charge. But, someone made the point to me yesterday at 5-a-side, the reason Everton's went through is because it was easier to put through because there's only one charge. Man City are probably still going to be pretty bad. But, 10 points. It's just it's very unjust for what we've done, which is go over the losses by, obviously a large amount of money in terms of millions of pounds, but in the grand scale of things, and especially for Premier League football, a very small amount. And none of it was to do with increasing the quality of the football team. So it didn't do anything. It was all because of interest payments on loans to build the new stadium, which were discussed with the Premier League powers that be. And we were told that it wasn't going to count in FFP, and then halfway through that process they changed it. So as you can imagine, Everton fans are pretty fucking annoyed, including me. I do think it's been sent straight to an appeal, obviously, and I do think it probably will get reduced. I thought any point deduction was ridiculous, let alone 10. But there's going to be some serious amount of banners, and everyone's getting these flyers handing out on the weekends where they're going to hold it up and it's going to say corrupt Premier League.
Premier League, tell him, mate. That'll tell him.
Well, it won't, will it? But at least it will fucking show that it's not on. Sky have come out today and said they're going to have to do something about the swearing and the chants on the live video on Sky Sports on Sunday. So I'll be interested to see how they deal with that, because it's going to be some heavy booing and swearing going to be heard over the audio otherwise.
I thought it was a bit ridiculous. It was hilarious to see you go through it. Fortunately, I don't think even if you didn't get it turned over, it's going to make much difference, because I mean, this is the one thing going to be so.
Yeah, like you say, this is the one thing that it is like. It's awful, and I do think it made me sick to my stomach when it got announced. But if it was to happen any season, like at least it's happened this season, and if it is going to stick, we're still only a 1 win away from being out of the relegation zone right now. But it certainly is a fucking kick in the ass. It's like Everton have finally got a run of some results together and actually looking like a semi-decent team. We've had some really good away wins, had a couple of like 3-0 home wins in a row, looking actually like Everton were about 5 years ago. And then their Premier League like, whoa, come on, get back down where you fucking belong. Here's a 10-point deduction. We could have literally declared ourselves bankrupt and gone into administration and got a 9-point deduction, and we would have saved ourselves a point. Like, it's just not, it's not right.
All right, that's enough. That's enough whinging. All right, no one wants to feel sorry for Everton. What do you think the result's going to be on the weekend? Pound for the charity pot. I'm going to go hostile environment plays into Everton's hands, whipping up a bit of spirit, get behind the boys, lump the ball forward, cause some chaos. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Actually, 1-1, because if Højlund doesn't play, Man United will have to put Martial up front, who is the worst striker in the Premier League.
Yeah, but tell me his record against Everton. I bet you his best record in his Premier League history is against Everton. I bet you.
It doesn't matter what he's done in the past, because right now he couldn't play five-a-side for the England blind team. He is awful.
I'm going to say, and it's bold, and I'm quite a positive toffee, but I'm going to say that we're going to win 1-0.
1-0.
And I do also think it's either going to be 1-0 or we're going to lose and get 2 players sent off. It's certainly going to be a fun fucking game to watch for a neutral.
McTominay decisive, I think there's going to be in there.
We'll see.
Anyway, the point of this segment, apart from to make you depressed about losing 10 points, is Everton versus the world. This is for our Movember charity pot. We pick one team stack from around the world to take on Everton, a 5-man Everton stack. Highest score wins. Week 1 saw Hajduk Split lose to your Everton stack. Everton weren't 1-0 up in week 1, so I owed £1 to the pot. And week 2 didn't happen because it's the international break. We do ask anyone who listens to give us a shout of any team they want to go up against Everton. And I think it was Red or Dead. It might have been Red or Dead said last time out, FC Andorra. So I've run with FC Andorra this week. If anyone's got a team they want to see go against Everton next week, any team, drop it in the live chat, the comments, whoever it is, pick a team and we'll put them up against Everton last week. So I conducted, had a look at Play Sharper basically, because I know nothing about FC Andorra, to come up with a 5-man stack. If anyone sees anything I should be doing differently in this stack, do let me know. But these are the 5, and they've actually got a quite difficult away fixture, so it's going to be quite hard for them. But we've got Villanova, he's got quite a nice L5 in there. Sergi Samper, ex-Vassell Kobe, looks pretty solid in there. I don't know about this Aurelian Schulder. Obviously come from Gijón before. He was actually worth quite a lot of money in his price. Okay. So I went for him because his value was so much higher than everyone else in the team. I was like, well, there's got to be something there. And Diego Gonzalez had a pretty nice L15 and L5 as well. So these are the 5 I am lining up against Everton and Everton versus the world this week. After defeating Hajduk Split, they're taking on FC Andorra. Please, someone else give me a team for next week. The better. The better. That's a phrase.
I know what you're saying.
What 5 Everton players are you lining up?
Okay, so this is obviously still up for a debate because I haven't done my teams yet for the weekend. However, it'll probably be the same, I'd imagine. So Pickford in goal, obviously. Tarkowski will probably be my defender of choice. Loves the clearance off the line, loves the last man tackle. Got a last man tackle in the last game because he just fucking loves it. Did also get an error led to goal though. But Tarkowski's going to be my main boy. We're then going to go for Garner because obviously ex-United, he's going to be up for the game. United sort of didn't back him in the end, didn't they? And I think a lot of United fans probably wanted him to stay. He's a very good player. Probably our best ball playing midfielder that we've got. Dwight McNeil, clear as day. I'm just going to keep captaining him until he goes off and gets a really big score because he's getting so close to scoring in every game, and he's getting very frustrated. You can see because he's not scored yet this season, and he was our top goal scorer last year. But it is going to happen for him at some point, and when it does happen, I will have captained him 5 times across all my teams. Hoping it's this weekend. And then I've gone for Harrison. It's the Leeds version Harrison. I do have the Everton version Harrison somewhere. I just couldn't find it. But I'm going to go for Harrison just purely because he started really well for Everton. He's already become a bit of a fan favourite. He works his absolute arse off, which I think is probably to do with working under Bielsa before, who ran them all into the ground. Very good on the ball. Has already got a couple of assists in his first few starts for us. But yeah, I'm sticking him in and I'm going for that. Okay,
there we go. 5-man stack. I bought a Harrison this week on your recommendation.
He's good. He's still undervalued as rare as well, I think. I think he'll do well. He is only on loan at Everton, but I can see him staying.
Okay, that was the weekly Everton 10-point deduction and all. Look forward to the game on Sunday. We'll see who comes out on top.
They will have to do a rivals for it as well, eh?
We will have to do a rivals for it. Yeah, no. I'm just not very optimistic about Man United at the moment, especially with the injuries coming back from the international break as well. But we'll see.
It's a big one, isn't it? I mean, we've talked about it a lot here, but like United are obviously a tough team to play against at all times and never been an easy team to play against. But like you've got a lot of injuries right now, and we're probably the more informed team than you are right now, and at home and up for it. But I wouldn't necessarily make us favourites, but I'd say we've got a good chance on Sunday. So I can't wait for us to lose 3-0. Really excited for it.
Luke Shaw's back in training. We really need him. 3 more things to do. I'm just going to run through the Cap 220 teams. The Super Cap. Show the Ramsdale effect. You can see in my Cap 220 limited team, having Ramsdale, that 0 L15, has allowed me to run him with a Bayern Munich stack.
That is absolutely insane.
Because when you think about Cap 220, right, you think about finding those young, cheap gems that no one's got, putting in your tier 4s or your tier 5s, things like that, threading it all together. But actually, it's not really like that, are you? This Super Cap competition is going to see some good teams. And I think you do need to have some, solid depth to really challenge if you want to be in the top half of the prize pool. And I was surprised when I put Ramsdale in. Obviously, Yang, with the injuries at Celtic, he's probably going to start. I've got his midfielder card, not his forward card, but I bought it as a random cheap rookie card yonks ago, and now he plays for Celtic, and he's going to play up front for them. So I could have a Celtic striker with 3 Bayern Munich players, and the Arsenal goalie is my Cap 220 team. So Coman, Kimmich, Davis, Yang, and Aaron Ramsdale. Obviously, Davis was playing in Canada, wasn't he, in a big game. So I'll have to check the late team news for him. But apart from that, I thought that's quite exciting. Like a really exciting start to that Cap 220 competition. And it's mad what you can actually fit in there if you find those cheat codes. The 220 rare one, Scottish goalie, Stiglic, who has been a bit of a darling of my club since I picked him up for NAFL. Moffy's been on a bad run. O'Hata over in J-League, and Ludovic Blas at home. So that's quite a nice balanced team, not really a cheat code in there. I'm hoping just for a positive start, a different aim from this. I'm going for an absolute banger in the limited one, but in the rare one, I sort of want to get a score on the board. Yeah, so I think a more solid rounded approach has gone for that. And then I'm going to go for the rare one, the super rare one as well, because I don't need the goalie, obviously. and it felt very topical. This is the main reason I wanted to show it. My Consadole boys is finally going to run them out together. The Consadole Super Rares. Unfortunately, they're being backed up by Ron Thorben Hoffman, who scores an average of about 7 every week. He's getting absolutely battered to pieces.
Good for Cat.
Yeah, Bundesliga 2. Obviously, we've got the GOAT, Fukumore. Will he definitely start? He's been playing recently, so hopes are up. Fernandez, Ogashiwa, and Arano. Something will go wrong in this. One of these definitely won't play because that's what always happens with this Consadole lineup. But it was exciting to run the Consadole boys out together. And yeah, it's nice. Obviously, I couldn't compete if it was a Cap 270 super rare just because of the goalie situation. But this has allowed me to enter a few duffers with a rare keeper, and I'm excited for that as well. So we're going on 3 fronts. We'll see how it lasts. But you got any Cap 220 teams?
I do indeed. So don't have the Cap 220 super rare like you, absolute whale, but I do have a similar sort of train of thought with my Cap 220 limited team. So obviously Ramsdale in goal, nice little 0 in there, and then I've gone for these 4 absolute stud muffins as my limiteds. This is all still subject to change when I do the teams later. But Di Lorenzo, his cap has dropped a little bit recently, but he is an absolute stud of Italian defenders at the moment. But yeah, I think his cap's dropped to about 50 at the moment, which is pretty low for him. Hans Van Aken is one of my recent purchases over the international break. His price has dropped a fair bit for his old season cards, so I thought I'd pick one up. So yeah, he's obviously one of the goats of the game, isn't he? So he's got, and if you look at his scores, he's got potential of seriously good scores. OHL are not a very good team, so you'd like to think Club Brugge will do really well there. Dwight McNeil, no words needed. Probably one of the best players in the world. Left foot, absolute wand. So he's in there. And then Carter Vickers, who was back in amongst it after his injury with Celtic now. Yeah, always nice to play some Celtic players in the Cap 220 team, isn't it? Even if it's not one of the better players. So getting one of the probably the best players in, who's AA game
as well. Yeah,
AA as well. His AA game is so good. Like, he doesn't even have to get decisive, and he might get like high 90s. He's a joke.
Like mine, it's a really strong lineup, that, isn't it? You just look at it, and that doesn't feel like a Cap 220 team.
The strongest limited 220 team I've ever put in.
I think people would be surprised at the level of talent in this competition.
Yeah, and then Cap
price was so much better than the usual bag of shite you get in 220. So
Cap 220 rare, much the same as you. It's not full of absolute studs, so you're not going to be seeing the same sort of standard as the limited one with the 0 goalkeeper. But Philip Menzel, I know he's one of your lover boys.
My originals. He's in my top 3, my podium of best ever performers.
Nice.
Most rewards brought in.
So I won him as a tier 2 prize in the international break, which was nice. He's worth £7 though, which is ridiculous, isn't it? Really, for a starting goalkeeper, tier 2. I think he's just left the under 23 sort of qualification, isn't he? So maybe that's affects his price.
Aged out,
yeah. And then Otavio, RIP Otavio. He's obviously over in Saudi Arabia now, but they've got a ACF game. Is it ACF or ACL? This might change. They can only register 5 international players for each Asian Champions League game. So I don't quite know if he's been even registered for it yet. So I'll have to have a look later. But being able to get Otavio into a Cap 220 team is pretty good because his scores are really elite when he does play. And then I've gone for Leandro Gonzalez Perez, who's starting centre back for River Plate, ex-Inter Miami, I think. He was someone I won as a reward a few weeks ago. In his debut for my team, he scored an own goal and got about 25. So really happy about that. But it did at least drop his cap for this. I think he's going to start. I still haven't done any research onto if he is going to start or not. But there we go. So Janis Antiste is someone I won last season. Very young, obviously 19-year-old, was at Sassuolo. Was worth quite high value at the time, considering I think he was a tier 5. Anyway, he's joined a second division Italian team called Reggiana, which is where I've somehow ended up getting a keeper from as well. So I have a random Reggiana stack at the moment. But yeah, he's doing well. I think he's got a couple of goals in his last 2 games, but his average is still really low. It's like 39, so he's in there. And then Eward Pletenks, who's a very good AA player with a terrible matchup. So I'm just hoping he might get a few clearances off the line. But yeah, there we go.
Happy days. There we go. The assault on the Cap 220 begins. 2 things left to do. We have the Moustache Tip of the Week. A tip of the weekend for us, for someone who we think is going to perform well. Criteria is they must have a mustache, because we're doing Movember Mo Rare Thursday Club, raising some money. Put one player up each week, and the loser has to put some money in the pot. So last weekend, Swiss Mafia pulled in Ousmane Dembele, didn't he? Which was,
I'm not sure many people have heard of him. He's a bit
a very subtle pick. I picked Gabri Martinez, Mirandes. I didn't actually see if he played or what he scored. Oh, look, he got 12.8 with negative. Decisive, he gave away a penalty. 12 points in 90 minutes. I will check your twos, but did Dembele play? I might be my only out, right?
Pretty sure he played.
Okay.
100% in his last 5, so...
Yeah, he got 70 in 24 minutes against Gibraltar in a 14-0 win, and 48 in 65 minutes against Greece. So take your pick.
I think it was it technically the weekend one that counted, or were we counting both the midweeks? So you had 2 options.
Depends if you beat me or not. Who was your player?
Mine was Thiat.
Arthur.
Yeah. I think it was before the weekend, wasn't it? But I think, did Belgium have 2 games in the game? I don't know. Fuck it. It doesn't really matter, does it?
Doesn't matter. A 53 for Thiat in a 5-0 win. That's actually moderately disappointing, 60 minutes. So we got the clean sheet bonus. 5-0 win and only put up 30.
I guess. Got booked and then got hooked at 60 minutes, but at least he got the cleaning.
Yeah, so there you go. I handsomely lose that one with a negative decisive and a 12. So that's £1 in the pot from me. We move on to this weekend. I've got mine up, so I'll show you now. I'm going for Robert Zulj.
Okay.
At Lask. Nice fixture, performing well. Has got, that split tash, quite thin, nice split under the nose, matches it up with that soul patch and the beard, solid facial hair here. Would fit in perfectly in Mo Rare Thursday Club. So I'm going to go for Zulj as my pick this weekend.
I like it. His scores are looking pretty good there. What's his scores looking like down below?
He is a pretty high scorer recently. Didn't play in the last game. Was predicted to play this week according to Sorare data. Plays as a striker, so he's been getting lots of decisives. And they are home to WSG Tyrrell. So
very strong pick.
Very strong pick. I like him. I actually own one of his special edition cards. Anyway, I think he's going to be a good play for me this weekend, and a good moustache play for the charity pot. So Robert Zulj for me.
I like it. So my player hasn't quite got the depth of moustache that I'd like for my pick.
Oh, yeah.
But he does still have one. So we're going to go for this lad, Andres Drea, I don't know how you quite say it, but he plays for Anderlecht. Does have a little cheeky moustache there with the little split under the nose again. So we've gone for 2 nose-splitting moustaches here.
Yeah.
With tiny little goatees. But solid player, gets in the Denmark squad, got in the squad for the midweek, for the international break, but didn't actually play the game. But it shows that he's at least, a good quality player to make the squad. Plays for Anderlecht, has obviously very good potential of high scores here. Didn't do too well in the last game, but Ghent is a tough fixture. As you can see from his few games before that, 80, 100 and 70, very strong player. And they are playing at home to RWD, which I think is the newly promoted team. So you'd like to think that's a pretty strong fixture for him. I think he tends to play as like a left midfielder rather than a striker, or we'll say left striker. So he's like a left winger, but solid player. So that could be a good little matchup, actually.
2 good picks, good matchup. I need to improve my records. So that was, I think 2 losses for me, isn't it? I don't think I won the first week either.
No, actually, no. I think you won the first one, but I won the Everton versus the split one. So we need to stick those quids in the pot, don't we, at some point?
And then just before we go, I want to touch on rivals quickly. How have you found it? And do you think it will add to like the weekend experience when you've got a full lineup of clubs this weekend? Are you excited for rivals? Give me an overview.
I like rivals. I like rivals a lot. I think it's good fun. I think it was good that it was brought in international breaks. I do think if it was brought in on a club weekend, it would be just absolutely fucking mental, with the amount of requests coming my way or our way or whatever. It's going to be good to have it this weekend. I'm certainly going to have to pick and choose things that I feel like I've got good limited and rare cards for, so I can sort of not guarantee a win, but I've got a best chance of winning a matchup. But it certainly won't be something I'm prioritizing in terms of, I've got my teams to do. But I guess the one good thing is that as soon as that 3 p.m. deadline is gone, you don't have to worry about setting your lineups again, do you? You can just almost focus a bit more on rivals because it's done deadline by deadline for each game. So, yeah. I mean, we're going out drinking on Saturday, so I imagine we'll be doing a few little rivals against each other for a few drinks at some point.
I think that will come into its own. Like when you're going out with your mates and you're like, right, let's stick the early game on, quick rivals. So let's do the 3 o'clock. I don't tend to do much on Saturday and Sunday, like my lowest rare time. I check the scores and stuff, but I'm not really doing anything on there. I think Friday nights, midweeks, it'd be good for. Man United, Everton at the weekend, it'd be good. Bayern Munich and PSG are on Friday night, aren't they? So that'd be 2 big ones. I think there'd be a lot of action there. Midweek European games, I think it'd be good for. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting. I mean, I like it as like an added extra. I don't think it's like going to ever be the forefront of my Sorare. But
whilst we're here, I'm just sharing my screen here. One thing I'm certainly not happy about is going onto the Sorare Mambas page and seeing that the most wins. Why is this not scrolling down? Oh, that's annoying. The most win. There we go. No, why is it not scrolling down? See here. But the most wins you've got is against me. Most losses is also against me, but that's because you've not played many games. But you're certainly about 11-5 against me, which I'm not happy about at all. So hopefully I can get that back up to some sort of equilibrium on the weekend.
Who's top of my friends' leaderboards there? The middle column. TSN.
Oh wow, I didn't see that. I haven't actually looked at this on the desktop. This is cool. This actually, you're on 309. Christ. I've played a serious amount of matchups so far. I'll show you. I don't know how many you've played, but I think I've played like 240 games so far.
Wow.
I'm on a 60% win rate at the moment, so 157 won and 81 lost. So not too bad.
Yeah,
I had a couple of really good ones on the weekend where I won like 16-2, like 4 times in a row in a few of the games. But
I've only played 75 matches. So
yeah. I've gone a little bit ham on some of my international fixtures I had where I had some good limited and rare cards for them and just like spam requested matchups with so many people.
Here you go. Hamadism, one of the regulars here in 5th place.
Love it.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It's good though. It is good. And this type of thing actually, which I hadn't seen until we've just seen it now, those 2 leaderboards there, that's good. That's sort of thing that they should do more of, like general fun leaderboards like this.
Red or Dead, still looking for an invite. I've actually got an invite, a real one, unlike whatever Swiss Mafia was trying to send to you.
Oh, there we go.
Last week. We're just going to end the show now, but then I'll send it over to you. Drop your Twitter account in the live chat here, and then I'll send it over to you straight after the show because I've definitely got an invite spare.
Nice.
Yeah. I do like these leaderboards and things, and I think it's cool. I think this type of thing adds to it. Leaderboards, beat your friends, like, I like that type of thing.
Beautiful.
But, yeah, on that Rivals update, I think we've gone far too long as per usual. So I think it's time we called it a day. If you're still here and you haven't liked the video, please could you do us a favor and do that for us. It means a lot to us. And we will be back next week, as always, hopefully on the back of a Man United win. But one of us will be happy, one of us will be sad. We'll soon find out.
Let's settle on a Bristol City win whilst we're watching.
We'll settle on our return to Ashton Gate. So we'll take a Bristol City win under the new manager against Middlesbrough. So yeah, you'll probably see us posting pissed up pictures on our Twitter account at the weekend. So follow us there for some of that and some competitions. Probably the more we drink, the more we give away. But for now, we must go. We've taken up a lot of time. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll be back with you next week. Viva La Thursday Club.
Up the fucking toffees.